He is trying to say something. You feel it, don't you? It's not just about what's coming, it's about what is already here, in the energy he emits, in the silence that speaks louder than any words. He is nervous. Maybe he doesn't even know where to start. Maybe he's afraid of how you'll react, but he needs to say it. And you, are you prepared to listen? Are you ready to handle what deep down you already feel is about to be laid out in front of you? The truth is, he hesitates because he knows that after this, nothing will be the same. You will understand that it's not just about him. It's about you both. About everything that has been accumulated so far and what can still change. This waiting, it carries a tension that cuts through the air. He watches you looking for a sign, something that shows you will understand, that you will stay, that you are ready. But he's not sure. And you? Are you? No matter how difficult it is, he needs this moment. And maybe you do too. He takes a deep breath. You notice that he is trying to muster the courage to say something that has probably been kept inside for a long time. And deep down, you know it's not just anything. There is a different weight in this moment, something that seems to almost freeze time between you. He looks into your eyes, but he appears insecure. Maybe he's trying to gauge if you are ready to hear, or if you'll simply turn away from what he has to say. And then he begins. It's not easy. His voice falters. The words come slowly, as if he is assembling a puzzle while speaking. It's like he's waiting for you to understand, even before he finishes explaining. And maybe you do understand. Maybe you have felt this before. Maybe you have noticed the signs but didn't want to face them. He is trying to be honest, but the truth is he's not sure how you will react. And you, as you listen, you feel your heart racing, that mix of curiosity and apprehension. You want to know what it is, but you also fear the impact it might have. It's the kind of moment where, no matter how much you want to run away, you know you need to stay. Because it's important. Because it's about something that goes beyond his words. It's about the two of you. About what you've built, what was left behind, what's yet to come. He talks about things you may have noticed but ignored. About feelings he couldn't express before. About doubts, fears, expectations. He tries to explain in a way you'll understand, but deep down he just wants you to listen. Because for him this moment is a test. It's a chance to show that he trusts you enough to open up, even knowing it might change everything. And you? What are you feeling now? It's hard, isn't it? Because suddenly you realize this conversation isn't just about him. It's about you too. About how you're going to react. About what you're going to do with this truth he's putting in front of you. You feel his vulnerability, but you also feel yours. Because hearing someone's truth, especially when it's something so important, takes courage. And you're being tested in this moment, as much as he is. Maybe he's talking about something that's been bothering him for a long time. Something he tried to ignore but couldn't hold back anymore. Or maybe it's something you didn't expect to hear. Something that completely changes how you see your relationship. What matters now is how you're going to deal with it. Because, without realizing it, he's asking you for an answer. He's asking you to show that you're ready to face whatever comes after this conversation. You notice that he is nervous, but also determined. He knows he needs to say it, even if it is difficult. Even if you don't react as he hopes, because for him, keeping it inside is no longer an option. He needs to get this weight off his chest. He needs you to know what's going on inside him. And he needs to know that you are willing to listen. In this moment, all he wants is for you to stay. For you not to interrupt, not to run away, not to give up. He just wants you to be there, present, listening. Because this is his way of showing that he trusts you, that he believes you are capable of handling this, even if it is difficult. And you? Are you ready for this? You feel his vulnerability, you feel the importance of this moment. And at the same time, you feel the impact this is having on you. Because suddenly everything seems more real. The doubts, the fears, the uncertainties, all of this is there, between you, asking to be faced. And you know there's no escaping it. Not now. Not after everything that has been said. He finishes speaking, and the silence that follows is almost deafening. He looks at you, waiting. He doesn't say anything else because now it's your turn. Your turn to show what you feel, what you think, what you are going to do with everything you just heard. And you realize that in this moment it's not just about him. It's about the two of you. It's about how you will handle this together or if you will let it drive you apart. You feel the tension in the air. You feel the weight of this moment. And you know that from here on nothing will be the same, because the truth has that power. It can hurt, but it can also heal. It can drive you apart, but it can also bring you closer. And now, it all depends on how you both will handle this. He watches you, waiting for your reaction. He doesn't know what will happen, but he is willing to take the risk. Because for him, sincerity is more important than fear. And for you, perhaps this is the moment to show that you are also willing to face whatever is necessary. That you also value this connection, this truth, this vulnerability. He continues looking at you silently, not because he has given up speaking, but because now the word is yours. He laid everything out there without reservations. Despite his hesitation, he fully committed to the truth. And now he can only wait. His silence is a reflection of the vulnerability he let show. You feel the weight of all this, don't you? It's as if the world around you has slowed down, as if it's just the two of you, trapped in this moment. You notice how much he is invested, how he is waiting for something that you're not even sure you can offer. And then comes the inevitable question that echoes in your mind. What do I do now? You can still feel his words lingering in the air. They carry a truth that is hard to ignore, even if somehow you wanted to. And maybe you even thought about how it would be easier to pretend this didn't happen. But it happened. He spoke, he opened up, and now you need to decide how you will respond. You can notice the little signs from him, the way he fidgets with his hands, how he averts his eyes for a moment and then looks back at you as if trying to understand what is going on in your mind. He wants to know if you understand. More than that, he wants to know if you're willing to stay despite everything. And this is where things get even more difficult, because no matter how much you want to avoid it, this moment requires you to look inward. You can't just react automatically. You can't put empty words between you two and pretend that everything remains the same, because it doesn't. Something has changed and you both know it. He gave you his truth and now you need to give something in return. It's not just a response. It's not just about what you're going to say. It's about how you're going to position yourself in the face of this. Because he already made his decision by opening up, by putting fear aside and trusting you. Now, it's your turn. And what do you feel at this moment? It's all mixed up, isn't it? Confusion, fear, maybe even a tinge of anger. Anger for him bringing this up, for changing everything suddenly. But at the same time, there's something more. Something you might not yet be able to name, but it's there, pulling you to face what's really happening. He didn't say all of this to hurt you. He didn't speak because he wanted to cause this turmoil inside you. He spoke because he needed to, because at some point he realized that holding this inside was more destructive than any reaction you might have. He chose to be honest because he believed you could handle this together. And now you have to decide. You can run away, you can ignore all of this and pretend nothing happened. You can close your eyes to the truth and hope that time erases this moment. But does that really solve anything? Can you move on knowing that this truth was placed between you and that you chose not to face it? Or you can stay. You can listen, truly. You can try to understand what he meant, what he felt, what led him to this point. You can accept his vulnerability as an invitation for you to be vulnerable too. Because deep down, it's not just about what he said. It's about what the two of you can build from this. But you know it's not going to be easy. Staying means facing things you might prefer to avoid. It means making room for discomfort, for difficult questions, for answers that may not be exactly what you wanted to hear. It means being willing to question not just him, but yourself as well. Are you willing to do that? He watches you, still waiting, still holding the weight of this moment, as if at any instant he could crumble. But he doesn't back down. He doesn't try to soften what was said, because he knows that to soften would be the same as lying. And he has decided that lying is no longer an option. You realize that the choice you make now will determine much more than just this moment. It will define the path you both will follow from here on out. It will show not only who you are as individuals, but who you can be together. And that's scary, isn't it? Because suddenly everything seems too big, too important, too decisive. But that's what it means to be in a true connection. It's not about always knowing what to do or say. It's not about having all the answers. It's about being willing to face these moments, even when they feel bigger than you. It's about showing that even in the midst of chaos, you choose to stay. So what are you going to do? He is there, waiting. Not because he wants to pressure you, but because he needs to know. Because for him, this moment is about more than the words that were said. It's about discovering if his truth has found a place in yours. And only you can answer that. The silence between you seems infinite, but in reality it's just filling the space you need to decide. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You don't need to know exactly what to say, but you do need to show something. You need to take a step, even if it's a small one, because that's what he is waiting for. Not perfection, but presence. He remains there, watching you. The moment seems eternal, but you realize that something deeper is happening. It's not just about what was said, but about what is being built. Between you, a space has opened, a space for truth, for connection, for transformation. And this space needs to be filled with conscious choices, with actions that show not just what you feel, but who you are. As the words begin to flow from your mouth, something inside you unlocks. Maybe you are still not sure how to express everything, but you realize it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be honest. You are choosing to open up, even though you don't know exactly where it will lead. And it is in this openness that true strength resides. It is in this moment that you realize vulnerability is not weakness, but an act of courage. And you? When was the last time you had the courage to open up like this? When was the last time you faced a moment like this, where you were forced to confront your emotions head-on, without looking away? Maybe this is rare. Maybe you are even afraid of it. But it is exactly in these moments that we discover what truly matters. He breathes a sigh of relief, not because everything is resolved, but because he realizes that you are willing to be there. He did not expect perfection, but he needed to feel your presence. And now, he feels it. He realizes that, even with all the doubts, you chose to stay, chose to listen, chose to be part of this moment. And this choice, as simple as it may seem, is transformative. The truth is that we all need this. We need someone who is willing to stay, even when things get tough. We need someone who chooses to listen, even when it is uncomfortable. And above all, we need to be that person. To be someone who is willing to truly connect, to create space for the conversations that matter, for the truths that heal. Now I want you to think about your life. How many times have you avoided these conversations? How many times have you chosen silence out of fear of touching something that seemed too delicate? Maybe you are thinking of someone now, a moment that passed by, a truth that remained trapped in your chest because it seemed easier to keep it than to expose it. But was it really easier? It's hard, I know. Facing these truths demands more from us than we are used to offering. It requires courage, patience, vulnerability, but it also gives us something that no other experience can offer: growth, true, deep, transformative growth. And isn't that what we all seek deep down? I want you to bring this reflection into your life. Who is the person that needs to hear something from you now? Who is the person waiting for you to open up, for you to create this space of truth? And more importantly, what are you waiting for? Don't let the fear of discomfort prevent you from living what really matters. Don't let the fear of the other person's reaction paralyze you, because in the end, what hurts the most is not what was said, but what was never expressed. Now, speaking truthfully, are you ready for this challenge? Because it's not something that happens overnight. It's a daily choice. Choosing to be present, to be vulnerable, to be honest. Choosing to be available to listen and to be heard. Choosing to face the silences and discomforts in the name of something greater. Connection, love, truth. If this message made sense to you, if it touched something inside you that might have been asleep, I want to invite you to take a step further. Subscribe to this channel. This is a space where we talk about what really matters, about the truths we often avoid, but that have the power to transform our lives. Here, you are not alone. We are together in this journey of discovering who we are, what we feel, and how we can connect more genuinely with others. Moreover, I want to hear from you. I want to know what this message awakened. What did you feel while listening to this? Did it remind you of someone? Did it make you reflect on a situation you have experienced? Leave your comment below and share it. Don't keep it just to yourself. Your words may help other people who are going through the same situation and need to hear a different perspective. And of course, if you believe this message can impact more people, leave your like. It not only helps the channel, but also makes this reflection reach more people who, like you, might need that little push to face life's truths. I know it's easy to let it pass. It's easy to listen, think for a moment, and continue with the routine as if nothing had changed. But do you really want that for yourself? Don't you deserve something deeper, more real, more truthful? I believe you do, and I believe you know that too. So this is your opportunity. Do something with what you felt here. Turn it into action. Whether it's in the comment you will leave, the person you will look for to have that pending conversation, or the way you will view your relationships from now on. The important thing is not to let this be lost, because moments like this are rare, and they have the power to change everything. Finally, I want to tell you that no matter where you are now, emotionally or physically, you are not alone. We are here to build this journey together, step by step, conversation by conversation, truth by truth. Subscribe, comment, like, and most importantly, live your truth. Because it is that which will lead you exactly to where you need to be. And that, I promise, is a place of much more love, peace, and connection. We are in this together, and I can't wait to see how you will transform what you felt today into something that will impact your life and those around you. Let's move forward, always towards what truly matters.